I was always a really sick kid, you know, just always ear infections, tonsil and ear, nose, and throat problems, always. Um, every year I would be on an antibiotic for something, usually multiple times per year. Um, there was a few times where I got really dinged up and really never really got back to where I was. I was sick with what I thought was strep throat at around 18 years old. I lost 40 or 50 pounds. I kept telling the doctor that I thought I had strep throat. He said, no, you have mono. The tests are coming up negative. 30, 40 days later, I get a call from him. He says, yeah, you have strep throat. Do you still have any of that medicine I gave you? And I was like, yeah, it's in the fridge. So you start taking that. And then by the time I was done with the medicine that had been sitting in my fridge for 40 days or 30 to 40 days. And then after that, I had a lot of heart things. Like I'd have out of rhythm heartbeats. A lot of scares from the white coats on having heart problems. I was just always a sick kid, and in my 30s I had a vicious ear infection. I hadn't had an ear infection from like 18 to 32-ish, 31-ish. And then I had it was unbelievable pain. Like, ear infections are no joke when that happens. So I had that for about a month. That was pretty tough. And then, I was covered in, I always had bad skin. Entire life had bad skin. Went through everything that big pharma, from even all the way up to the heaviest hitter, Accutane. Did 2 rounds of that. They had me on a low-dose antibiotic for probably a decade. I mean, I could go even deeper and deeper into the mystery. I mean, I had a sprained ankle that they put into a hard cast for 2 months. My left ankle is still incredibly tight because you don't do that to joints like that. You gotta keep them moving. Then I was real sick. I was just lethargic, really not feeling well. Was going to doctor after doctor after doctor in my early 30s, right after the ear infection. After I was cured of the ear infection, but still just never felt good after that. Bad skin all the way down my trunk, even onto my legs. Finally get to this doctor who's like, I'm the Mac Daddy doctor. I find what's wrong with everybody, okay? $3,000 in tests later with insurance, like exotic tests, everything. I go back to see him and he tells me that I'm good. There's nothing wrong with me. All my levels are in thing other than slightly elevated bilirubin, but to not worry about that. I remember he had his hand on the knob to the door the majority of the time that he was talking to me. And I just remember getting so angry. I was like, this guy, doesn't know what I've been sick for so long, and he's got his hand on the knob on this door. He's already ready to get out of this room after $3,000. And I worked for a Fortune 50 medical company. I had great insurance, as far as that goes, right? And he said, I'm good. And then I was like, did you look at me? Do you see this? And then he goes, I can refer you to a dermatologist. I'm like, guy, I've been going to a dermatologist for 20 years. And in that office right there, talking to him, I was like, these guys are full of shit. I'm never going back. I don't care. I'll figure it out myself. And I did. I still have remnants of problems, like really tight left ankle, which, scoliosis, which I'm still working on, which the story goes when I was less than 2.5 or less than 2 years old, that my father beat me because I was crying, and that's what moved my L5 vertebrae. It's on my Instagram page. My L5 is like really turned to the side. Some practitioners that I've gone to have said that whatever happened to me very young, because I wouldn't be able to walk if it happened to me when I was older. And usually they'll ask like if I was in a car wreck or something. So anyway, so I just decided that I would never go back. All of those people were full of shit. And the more and more I read, the more I realize that they are 100% full of shit, but it's not their fault. These doctors are trying to do well by their patients. They are trained by a system that is infused with money from companies that go all the way up to owning everything in the world. You look at the Flexner report. That's a key thing to look at if anybody wants to start researching. Flexner report is a big tell. That's one of the, don't look at the Flexner report. Look at Wikipedia, but dive deeper than Wikipedia on the Flexner report. That's where it really, really went south, medicine in this country. That was 100 years ago. So the whole training institutions that produce these MDs were bought and paid for in the 19-teens. That's why we don't have any innovation. That's why people just keep getting sicker and sicker, because they're not trying to make you healthy. They're trying to make you sick for money. That's why people that understand what's going on have to talk about it. That's why I'm doing this,